Bobby Green's in big trouble here. And it's all over! He heard him, Mike. Boy, Yancey's got heart, I'll tell you that, man. A lot of guys were tapped there. Jim Miller, winner by submission. Bar at the same time, he's gonna break his arm.
But he can't, oh, there it is. So the tap from Melvin Gillard.
The pay-per-view will open up with lightweight action, a fight that jumps off the page as Dustin Poirier will be taking on Jim Miller. Dustin Poirier looking to bounce back after that loss to Michael Johnson last September. He's taking on Jim Miller, who some had written off and has made a big comeback, fighting 4 times in 2016. Coming off of 3 wins, it'll be Dustin Poirier with the 1-inch reach advantage. And the key here, guys, is this is Dustin Poirier that I feel made such a wise career choice returning to lightweight. He's looked like such a better fighter at 155, where that weight cut was killing him at featherweight. He did have the hiccup against Michael Johnson, but this is someone that I just think has so many different tools here. Jim Miller is very tough, a very durable fighter, but I favor Dustin Poirier pretty well in this fight.
We've talked about 155 pounds. You're lucky if you can win 3 straight at 155 pounds. Arguably the most dangerous, deepest division in all of mixed martial arts. And when I look at how these guys match up, they're both super skilled in the stand-up department, super skilled in the getting hurt department and the toughness department, the submission department, the wrestling department, the experience department. But for some reason, I still favor Dustin Poirier. Is it because he's a little slicker, a little faster, his combinations are a little smoother? I think it's
also gotten wiser, I think, over the years. As you've seen, this was someone that would go out there and just throw. Now you see a guy that's very conscientious about his sparring and training. And as we've seen, if he sees a takedown, he'll initiate that. And I think
same with Miller, though. Both. That's why I like this fight, because if there's an opening, one of them's going to go after it, and then the other one will defend, and there'll be transitions and sweeps and submission attempts, and each guy will be trying to knock the other guy out and trying to break the other guy. I have a feeling this is going to be one of the fights that'll probably be considered fight of the night.
What did the southpaw say when he saw the southpaw? Oh, great, it's a southpaw. Both of these guys have lost to southpaws. Michael Chiesa.
Randy loved that one.
Michael Chiesa was able to beat Jim Miller, southpaw versus southpaw scenario, and that loss to Michael Johnson was the southpaw versus south. Oh God, it's a south. Everybody hates southpaws, none more than a southpaw themselves. This is a very interesting fight out on the feet, and when the one guy tags the other guy with the left hand, we're going to go to the mat, and that's where this one's going to be fascinating. We think of Dustin Poirier getting in and lining guys up and throwing out the gritty knuckles, but he's brilliant on the ground, a brilliant ground player, and so is Jim Miller, man. Yeah, Dustin Poirier, you don't think of this, but we've got some cool submissions here. There's a Darce choke, and that's something he really favors. Unreal, and look at the angle he gets here on your boy. Beautiful angle he gets, takes away the space by moving towards him, and then the mounted triangle armbar against young Max when he was coming up. This guy's got real skills on the ground, And you know who else does? Jim freaking Miller. So this is a fantastic fight. This is one of those fights that the hardcores, when all the other fighters are in the back, this is the fight they come out to watch.
No doubt. We've seen Jim Miller go through so many wars. I mean, he's had 36 fights, and when we saw him against Michael Chiesa, you guys were at that card at the end of December 2015.
He's doing well.
Then Diego Sanchez, and we're watching, it's like, is this kind of the decline of Jim Miller? Then we learn this guy's been doing these camps and fights with Lyme disease, which I've never had, but I guarantee it's probably even worse than drinking a 2-4 of Bud Light Lime. So for Jim Miller to have to deal with that, and then he comes back and he somewhat got his Lyme disease under control, defeats Takanori Gomi, defeats Joe Lozon, very close fight, and then Thiago Alves. What a year this guy had amidst a disease that could have ended his career.
Yeah, it's amazing, but that just shows you how tough this guy is, and that's one of the things that has allowed him to achieve the success and fight at this high of a level for such a long time. And if you're a hardcore fan of mixed martial arts, that's why you love Jim Miller.
Yeah, I mean, just a phenomenal fighter. When we saw him last, look at this. You want to be on the end of that? When we saw him last too, he said he was, as much as he loves powerlifting, and it is a beautiful sport, he's walking around a little lighter too, so he's not having to go cut as much weight. A lot of these guys are thinking that way. My buddy Joe Silva, before he left, one of the last few fights he set up was this fight, and he sent Jim Miller and asked him, and Jim said, "Yep, I'll take it." And Joe texted back, "Of course you will. You're Jim Miller. You've always been amazing to deal with. Thank you." And
awesome.
The Joe Silvas of the world, the guys who have been around for a long time, been exposed to thousands of these fighters, they know the real thing when they see it, and the real thing is Jim Miller.
All right. Be sure to go to FightNetwork.com or on iTunes. You can check out the MMA report. This week, I am chatting with this guy, John Ramdeen. We're going to chat about an event that happened 10 years ago, Elite XC's very first card, and the voice of UFC 208, John Anik, is on the show.